Well, that took a while. Edward, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Edward?
Sorry, I was on mute.
No, that's all right, man. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are
Good
you?
stuff. Well, I had a bit of a procedure yesterday, but I think I'm starting to feel better today. So let's take it one step at a time. Hi, Jagdeep.
Oh,
Hi, hello.
Hi, how you doing? Are we ready to go? We're a couple of minutes late, but are we ready to go live?
Yep, good from my side. Yep.
Good stuff. Let's do
Yep.
this then. Righty. Going live. This LinkedIn audio. It's right. We are live now. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Startup Growth Q&A. It's our 127th session. We've been doing these for over 3.5 years now. And the idea is quite simple. We're here to help startups like yourselves with whatever questions you may have in terms of growing your business to the next stage. Whether you need to know about user acquisition, client, vendor, partner acquisition, perhaps some growth hacks, go to markets, just general sales, marketing, advertising, and branding, and all that jazz. All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your question. By the way, this is our last growth Q&A session for this year. So if I were you, if you've got any questions, I wouldn't leave it for too late to raise your hand and then come up. You see, unfortunately, over 90% of startups fail. And the top 3 reasons for that are 1, market fit, 2, running out of money, and 3, not having the right people. But guess what? When it comes down to it, what really matters, the proof in that pudding is quite simple. Can you sell a product or a service that you've built your startup on? If you can't sell, then you haven't got a business. So hopefully we'll be able to help some people here today with that. I am a strong believer in the saying that sales skills everything, and let's see what we can do. We're going to go through some quick introductions and then open it for questions from the audience. By the way, for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that we're unfortunately unable to monitor your questions there. So if you do want to ask us any questions on growing your business, you would need to join us here live on LinkedIn Live Audio. You can do that either by going to our site, startuptoscaleup.club, and look for today's session, which is Startup Growth Q&A 127, or you can just jump onto LinkedIn and search for Startup to Scale Up Club, and the last post there, it's the conversation we're just having. So you just click on that and join. I've also, I believe, posted a link to our WhatsApp group, yes, in the comments of this event. And you can find that by at the top of your screen, on the right-hand side, there should be 3 dots. If you click there, then click View Event Details, you'll be able to see the comments, and you'll be able to see the link for our WhatsApp group. If you join us there, you'll be able to get alerts for all future events. We're currently doing 4 of those per week. Mondays, talent; Tuesdays, product and tech; Wednesdays, as you can see, it's growth; and Thursdays, it's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. However, from January, we're going to add another 2, and that would be a startup legal Q&A once a month, that one, and it will be on the 2nd Friday of each month, again, 12 to 1 p.m. And then a startup finances Q&A, that would be on the 3rd Friday of each month, and that is, again, from 12 to 1 p.m. Nadine, if you would like to come up, please raise your hand, otherwise I can't bring you up. What we can do now is some quick introductions and then open it up for questions. My name is 𝗦𝘁𝗿𝗁. I'm an Albanian in London, working with startups normally right after they get investments. I embed within their teams and help them hire and find and keep and empower the right people. I also do some growth advisory work with a few other businesses, and lately I've been helping angels and family offices with their due diligence. Perhaps Nadine, you'd like to introduce yourself, and then Edward and Jagdeep.
Thanks, Anton. Hello, everyone. I am Nadine Campbell. I am a business and marketing consultant by trade. I also run an organization called 𝗦𝘁𝗿, which helps diverse businesses start up and go right through to getting funding. So I specialize in go-to-market, as well as being a mentor and advisor for many startups and accelerators too. So thanks for having me. And if you'd like to connect, you can just click on my image and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Edward and then Jagdeep, please.
Thanks, Anton. Yes, hello, everyone. I'm Edward Wijnen. I'm a sales guy, basically, helping startups and scale-ups to grow their business, usually before funding, until roughly Series A, B. I'll help them to grow their business, gain product market fit, and scale their business. I also have a growth agency that offers growth partnerships to organizations, and I'm a co-founder of an AI startup.
Thank you very much, Edward. Jagdeep?
Hi, this is Jagdeep 𝗦𝗁. I'm based in the UK. In terms of my background, 25 plus years across various industries, sectors, geographies, mainly from the tech side. And so what I do is essentially work with C-level, board level members of various organizations, various sizes, and it's to get them to a good place. So this could be anything from improving return on investment, reducing total cost of operations, going to market, target operating models, etc., cost models in some cases, viability, a lot of due diligence, both from an investor side, but also from a point of startup to scale up and then through to corporate. In the UK, I run a couple of consultancies and also a publishing house. So that's myself. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jagdeep. Huge thanks to all three of you. We've got a brilliant panel with us today, team, an audience rather, shall I say. So if you do have any questions on growing your business, whether that is user acquisition, vendor, partner, client acquisition, growth hacks, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, go-to-market, and all that jazz, all you need to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, you introduce yourself, and then fire away with your questions. There are no right or wrong questions, by the way, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. We are only going to be here for the next 15 minutes, so I would advise you don't leave it for too late, otherwise we'll run out of time. This is, by the way, our last growth Q&A session for this year. We will then resume week commencing 13th of January. For those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that we're not able to monitor your questions there, so you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn Live Audio. Now, just before we go on to Dipti for questions, perhaps we can hear from our panel, what would be your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth? Maybe we can start with Edward, then Jagdeep, then Nadine, please.
Yes, thanks, Anton. Well, you may have already become sick and tired of me hearing it, but my biggest do and also don't is don't hang on too long to your initial idea for your startup, but be prepared to pivot whenever the market dictates. So that's one. And the other one is, if you're not embarrassed by the first release of your product after you've hit the market after a couple of years, then you've launched too late. Meaning that don't wait for perfect, but go to market as quickly as possible. Get feedback from your customers, and iterate towards product market fit.
Thank you very much, Edward. Jagdeep, what are your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early growth?
I would say a do is make sure you have the right team around you and the right individuals who can advise and take you down that path as well. Ideally, people who've been there. In many cases, again, from experiences that a lot of early stage founders, CEOs usually get caught into this web of people promising them that they can take them to a particular place. But I would say do your homework on anybody who's actually helping, advising you, etc. Especially if you're looking to part with equity, the founding team or that early stage team is exceedingly important. So I would say do your homework, understand who you're actually going to be working with, and don't be afraid to ask difficult questions. Advice again would be make sure you have people who've been there and done it, and it's not just more smoke and mirrors, people claiming to have done stuff or claiming that they've achieved particular attributes in their careers. But I would say that is very important. In many cases, I've seen this as well, is that the founders end up in the wrong team initially, and it's very, very difficult to get out of that kind of proverbial mud. So I'd say do your homework of the people around you as well.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Last but not least, Nadine, what are your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth?
Thanks, Anton. I'll start with my do. My do is network. Do network a lot. This year has seen a massive increase in the amount of networking that's happening. And in those rooms, you will get connected with people that you didn't expect to. So, you know, there could be someone that you create a partnership with. There could be someone who's doing a similar business and you collaborate on something, but you'll be surprised the amount of great people that you meet at networking events. And also you get to practice your pitch too. So get out there and do some networking, definitely in 2025. And my don't is don't ignore external feedback. You will get a lot of feedback from friends, family, and supporters, and that's really great. They will be thinking about your emotions and what you think about what they say, because they're in your network and they're your friends. But you must also listen to those who are not in your network, and even those that give you bad feedback. You should sift through that and really try to see if there's something valuable in there and then action upon it. Don't take it personally, but you can action upon the feedback and actually make your business better. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And speaking of that network, and for those of you in the audience, have a look on your right, whoever that person is, click on that picture and then click connect. After this session, the challenge is to look at that profile and find something you have in common and send them a message about it. That is my challenge for today. And now we'll go to Deepti if you've got any questions for us on growth today. Deepti, the floor is yours. There's a mic icon on the right-hand side at the bottom of your screen that you would need to click, Deepti, if you want to be able to talk. Okay, I guess Deepti is not able to talk, but if you are, please feel free to unmute whenever you like, and we'll take some questions from yourselves. Now, we'll go to some questions that were sent in to us. I'm going to, oh God, I just lost them. Sorry. I'm going to put them in our chat, panelists, so you can read it too, if you like. And let's see, where are we? Bear with me just 1 second. Oh, good Lord. Okay, so have a look at the messages. Right. This is a sustainable fashion brand in London. They're preparing for Series A. I think they came through via the Go London Local scheme that we help, which is the London Mayor's campaign run by London and Partners. It's a brilliant campaign helping local businesses. And the question is, we have low repeat purchases from first-time buyers. Our sustainable fashion brand converts first-time buyers effectively, but struggles to retain them for repeat purchases. How can we design a customer acquisition funnel that builds loyalty by implementing limited edition collections, gamified rewards for things like eco-friendly behavior, and perhaps automated post-purchase communications that reinforces the brand's impact and value proposition. Especially this post-purchase comms, I think, is where we need to really work well on and find something that is either cheap or free that we can do that. Let's start with Edward, then Jagdeep, then Nadine on this, please.
Yeah, well, so I'm not an expert on fashion, but my observation here first is why do you not have these repeat purchases? Have you done some investigation in that? I.e., did you interview your customers? Are they telling you why? That could be an issue with your product, could be an issue with your service, could be an issue with your funnels in general. So I think first of all, try to figure out why you have low repeat purchases. Then the other things that you mentioned are gamified rewards or loyalty programs. Those are plenty a dozen that you can come up with to kind of encourage repeat customers. But if you don't know why they're not repeating, I think that's your first call to action, figuring that one out.
How would you go about figuring that one out, Edward?
I would basically try and get in touch with existing customers, or customers that have only bought once, through various means. Connect with them on social media, connect with them on email. I doubt that you will have their phone numbers, but I would make it a campaign and try to get some feedback. You could systemize that with, interview forms, type form or SurveyMonkey or whatever, to kind of get some feedback from them why they haven't bought the second time. And maybe you need to incentivize that by, I don't know, raffling out, something that are for value, like maybe a product of yours. Try to get some feedback.
Thank you very much. And just before we go to Jagdeep, just to kind of chime in on and piggyback on Edward's point there, in terms of finding out, because with B2C, it's not always easy to do that. So maybe just find a way to follow up rather than say, why aren't you buying again? Start the conversation by saying, hi, thank you for buying whatever you bought. What did you think of it? So try and find out from them what they thought of that product that time, rather than why are you not buying now? Jagdeep, what are your thoughts on this?
I think some of the answers are in the question anyway. So there's a lot of stuff that you're talking about that could be done. I would say one is awareness. So it's understanding, why, to the point earlier, why aren't people actually coming back for repeat purchases? One thing you could do very easily is implement a post-purchase survey, like a good, bad, ugly, or traffic lights, or smiley faces or something, just to get an understanding about what people's experience was about that first purchase the moment they bought it. Either do it in a form on the website as soon as they bought something, or send them an email asking them for information, or what were their experiences like, etc. Would you come back? Would you recommend anyone? Would you refer anyone? Would you be keen to opening an account? In other words, you're funneling them towards a reward or loyalty scheme, offering them discounts for their next purchase, etc. So one is getting the information, but getting it as soon as that purchase is made. If there's an ability to get metrics into your website or your app, then what you could also do is find out when people drop off during that purchase journey. So it might be that people are dropping off at the point of making the purchase, people are dropping off at the point of adding something to the cart, etc. So there's various drop-off points, and that can be identified using metrics, because you can run session tokens and session management in terms of understanding that. And then the other one is automation as well. So typically, if you implement some kind of basic CRM, what you could do is actually input a lot of that information in there. So you can automate a lot of these emails that go out and the comms that go out at particular points during that customer journey. And you then start identifying why people are not coming back. So I think in summary, one is acquire information as to why people, what their experiences are like for that first purchase, if they do make a purchase, and then using that data to then drive people to come back to your website. So like I said, one is incentivization. Another one is to drive people to actually create an account on your website, for example. So there's at least some stickiness going on. And then there's an element of automation in terms of maintaining those comms. So yeah, those are the initial ones that come to mind, but there's a ton of other things you could do.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Nadine, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the previous speakers have covered the why aren't you returning to purchase quite thoroughly, and I think there's some really good advice there, so please listen to it. And also, in the opening, when I talked about getting information back, even if it's negative, this also applies. So, just listen, whatever feedback you get back, make sure you listen to it and don't take it too personally, just action upon it. So I'm going to focus more on the acquisition piece. Definitely finding out why they've purchased before they purchase at the end of the checkout. So it's part of the checkout process will be good for you if you are stuck getting that feedback. As Anton said, B2C feedback is a little bit tricky because once people have purchased, they sometimes just disappear. Also bear in mind that loyalty isn't what it used to be. So it could be the case they saw your item, they liked it, and then that's it. So they could become a one-off purchaser. And then you have to think about how to create a strategy around customers that only buy once. And there's, businesses that do that. There's businesses that are only seasonal. So have a think about those businesses and what you can do there. Also, when it comes to purchasing these days, there's a lot of boxes that come through through the post, and you pay one amount a year, and then you get regular drops of different exclusive collections or exclusive services or products. So think about that. Is there a way that you can keep them by changing your, the way that you actually create your product and service? Is it a slightly higher cost, but they get smaller drops, every 2 months or once a quarter per year? And then also you're heavy into sustainability and ways that people can improve their environment. So are you giving that information to the customers? Is it in a daily bite-sized piece which keeps them engaged with your brand and then keeps you top of mind, and then they think about repurchasing? So you're really going to need to delve deep into the research of why, and also the structure of your service and products, and pick it apart and try it again. There's nothing wrong with changing the way you've done things. Even if you think that you got it when you launched, you can pivot again. I think Edward said that earlier in the introduction. You can pivot what you're doing if it's not working. So this is definitely an opportunity for you to do that. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Thank you to all three of you, actually, for those brilliant points there. Right, just before we go on to Tracy, a quick reset of the room then. This is Startup Growth Q&A. It's our last Q&A on growth for this year and our 127th. We've had we've had around 270,000 people join us so far, as we've held over 1,500 founders. We've moved from Clubhouse to LinkedIn, and I think we need all the help we can get to spread the word. So please do feel free to maybe tag somebody you think may benefit from this in the comments of this event. And the way to do that, at the top of your screen, on the right-hand side, there's 3 dots. If you click there, you will then need to go on View Event Details, and the comments section comes up there where you can tag somebody. Or perhaps you might just want to share this room with your network, and that's even quicker. So at the bottom of your screen here, you click on share and share it for your connections to see. Also, we are going to come back with an absolute banger in January. So we'll come up with 6 Q&As instead of the 4 that we do now. So we'll carry on, obviously, with talent on Mondays, product and tech on Tuesdays, growth on Wednesdays, and fundraising on Thursdays. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And we'll add a startup legal Q&A, that is UK law, on the second Friday of each month at 12 to 1 p.m. and a startup finances Q&A on the third Friday of each month, again, 12 to 1 p.m. Q&A. We've got in the comments of this section, we've got a link to our WhatsApp group. If you want to follow us there, join that there. You'll then be able to get alerts for all future sessions. And we promise to only send 2 messages per day, so we don't spam you either. But as far as today's concerned, if you've got any questions on growing your business, whether that is user, vendor, partner, client acquisition, growth hacks, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, or just go to market, or anything within that sphere, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your question. By the way, there are no right or wrong questions, so there's no need to be shy. Now, we'll go on to Tracy, and if anybody else wants to come up, just raise your hand and I'll bring you up. Take it away, please, Tracy.
Good morning, Anton. Good morning from Houston. I am currently a audio content producer, and alongside that, I used to work in about 2 decades with multiple industries as an interpreter and communicator, copywriter. So I did have experience helping a few companies launching their services and products. So I'd like to share about 6 bullet points with you. That will be really precise because all of you are industry experts. I don't need to elaborate much on those bullet points. The first one, the primary reason I'm here, Anton, this morning is because you said connect to the people right next to you, and I'm here right next to you. So connect with me. 2, and I want to thank you for this room. Your room is one of the few rooms I find a true value. Thank you for that. And I want to say, for launching a business or launching services or product, I think number 1, do focus group, because in the focus group, 10, 20 people that you can get that will represent your potential market, and you can get immediate feedback there. 2, soft launch the product and service. Soft launching is very important. That's where you test it out. 3, royalty program. A few other speakers also mentioned earlier, and that's, I will say, one industry in particular, hotel industry, travel industry, airlines, they are good at royalty. They are good at retaining their customers, and there's a reason for it. Not only they can repeat the businesses, they keep their customer stick around, and they offer great incentives, right? We are all some kind of their royalty program, traveling or hotel, whatever, restaurant. And number 4, feedback. Okay, how you get feedback? I heard you talk a lot about email. Email is not the best way, or at least in my experience. Go to the people, talk to them. That's why I emphasize focus group, soft launch, royalty program. That's where you can get immediate feedback, interview. And very important thing in sales marketing, do the exit interview. Not only you need to know why your product is being sold, being purchased, you need to know why not. When people do not buy, that's the goal, where you want to know why not, why the sales is not continuing, why they're not coming back to the product, to the services you're offering. So exit interview, not only for the product, for your employees who are leaving, also do the exit interview if you can get a hand with them and get the negative feedback. I think that's more important to grow in business. The last one, communicate back to the team, to your product design team, to your service provider, whoever, draw the blueprint and have the team understand everything clearly, 100%. And I want to say the team, I always make up those acronyms. Tell everything, all material. Tell everyone, all materials. That's team. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Tracy. Really appreciate your time and the points that you've added. I guess we can now go on to another question. If there's anybody here that would like to come up, please feel free to raise your hand. We're only going to be here for the next 29 minutes, and this is our last Q&A on business growth for the year. And then tomorrow it's fundraising, which is the last session we have. We'll then take a break and resume on the 13th of January. For those of you tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately we're not able to monitor your questions there, so you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn. But for those of you that perhaps joined us a bit later today, and if you want to listen to the full replay of this, I've put a link to our YouTube stream there, where you can view the recording or the replay of this later on. It's in the comments of this section, and also in the comments of this event you may also find a link to our WhatsApp group, where you can get alerts for all future sessions that we do when we resume back in January. Now, I'll put another question in our group chat, team, if you'd like to have a look at it. This is a D2C sustainable home products in 𝗦𝘁𝗿 They're at seed stage. And now they go on to say, our potential customers don't seem to feel the urgency to purchase. Our sustainable home products attract interest, but potential customers often delay purchasing due to a lack of urgency. How can we leverage FOMO by introducing limited edition product drops tied to current environmental campaigns, or perhaps creating countdown timer promotion for exclusive bundles, or and showcasing social proof through real-time purchase notifications that demonstrate high demand? Plus, how can we actually integrate scarcity tactics like waiting lists for popular items, or maybe whilst maintaining the transparency and trust central to our brand? Wow, this is quite a mouthful. Let's start with Jagdeep, then Nadine, then Edward on this.
Yeah, so I think if we kind of draw back a bit and ask yourself, what is the fear of missing out? What does it actually? Why does that trigger actually take place in people's mind? And it's usually around kind of social comparison, the fact that other people around you are doing things or getting things or receiving things or purchasing, and you're essentially not getting that. So it's that idea about perceived inferiority. And then the other one is the need to belong as well. And usually these are psychological effects promoted in a context of time. So I think the concept of limited editions does work, but the question is, how limited is it? And I think you've already mentioned in the question around countdown timers, promotions, etc., exclusive bundling. But the main thing here is awareness, because unless people don't know about this, then that fear of missing out isn't going to happen. And also the question is, what am I missing out on, and why is it so important? So a lot of this is kind of strategies around how do you increase that anxiety in an individual to the point that they can actually go to the website or go to your app and actually start purchasing these things. And one is to incentivize them as well, to say, if you purchase X, you might be allowed to get a discount on a particular item. And by the way, this item is only available for X amount of time, or it's one of, 200 or something. So it's limited in terms of quantity. So I would say do an assessment of your customers and understand the demographics and the psychology. And then that's when you start introducing these kind of elements here. So rather than doing a scattergun approach, I would say get some data behind the decision making as to what kind of FOMO-esque kind of model that you want to adopt, and then try. I would say trial it out, because, like I said earlier, one could be a limited edition in terms of quantity, another one could be time based, another one could be context based, another one could be the fact that you have to sign up or become a member to achieve or receive particular things as well. So I think first step is do some research about the demographics and the personas that you have and the kind of customers that you're dealing with, and then apply a particular strategy.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Edward, any thoughts on that?
Well, I must say there were a lot of potential things they could do. They already listed themselves, apart from what Jagdeep already indicated. I would say test them out. That's the only way you really find out what is working, and test them out, not all together, of course, one by one, so that you can measure the effect of each and every action that you take. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of finding the right methodology to kind of get this done, what resonates with your audience, and what is effective.
Thank you very much, Edward. And Nadine, what are your thoughts on that question?
Great points from Edward and Jagdeep. I agree with those. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. When it comes to sustainability, we know, well, most of us, I'm assuming you know, because you've got a sustainable business, that the time is now. We don't have loads of time left to do more sustainable practices in order to ensure that our environment is protected. Okay, so we know that there is a time-bound element to this. So I would encourage you to put that forward in a way that feels like the customer is making a difference. So, you know, things like together we have done this, together we have, used 100 nets from the sea in order to create 100 jackets, and now they're gone because this is the only season that we can get it from, this particular part of the sea. And all of these things need to be real. They need to be authentic, not an artificial scarcity where you're just pretending. So think of the way food is seasonal. There's only certain things you can get in certain seasons, and you can adopt that same approach. And it currently works because, you know, in the summer, everybody gets the strawberries and everyone questions the strawberries when they see them in winter. Well, I do anyway. So think about those kind of tactics that you can use, and also community-based. You can make this fun. If it's going to, in April in England, it's always raining. Why can't you have a rain party? And in the rain party, everyone's going to come along that's purchased your sustainable umbrella made out of something different. So think about a different way to approach this. Everybody's doing sustainability. It's high up on the list for investors and new businesses that are coming out. You need to be able to break through all of that noise with something that's different and something that's exciting. If you think about the way that social media works, it's all about trends. And if you can create something that people have to be a part of, you know, creating a video strategy where everyone has to dance in the rain, because we know that's going to be that 1 week in England where it's just going to rain, you know, all week. And then you've got all the videos to collate, and you're creating a social dashboard and a community with it. So I encourage you to think differently, to be genuine, and to use seasonality in order to time when you deliver these products, and then all of the other brilliant advice that Edward and Jagdeep gave you previously. Thank you.
Well, that is gold. My team, my panelists are on fire today. I really appreciate all three of you for that. Quick reset of the room. We've only got 21 minutes to go. So hopefully we can go to at least a couple or three maybe questions before we wrap this up, since it's our last Startup Growth Q&A of the year. We're here to help you founders with whatever questions you may have on growing your business from zero to hero. Those could be on any topic related to this, so user, vendor, partner, client acquisition, growth hacks, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, go-to-market, and all that jazz. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your questions. By the way, I've put a link to our WhatsApp group in the comments of this event. So at the top of your screen on the right-hand side, there are 3 dots. If you click there, it will take you straight to the comments, and you can find the WhatsApp group. If you're based in the UK and you'd like to get alerts so that you don't miss any of our future sessions, please feel free to join that group. By the way, from January, we will go with 6 sessions: Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And then we'll add Startup Legal Q&A second Friday of each month, 12 to 1 p.m. and Startup Finances Q&A third Friday of each month, and that is again 12 to 1 p.m. Q&A. Now, whilst we're waiting for some people to come up, maybe we can go through one more question that was sent in to us. So bear with me. I'll put it in the group chat panelists if you'd like to have a look at it. So this one, it's from an educational app for early childhood development. They're based in Leeds and they're pre-seed. They ask, so first they've stated the problem, which is parents question whether the app is essential for their child. And then she goes on to explain, our app for early childhood development hasn't yet convinced parents it's a critical tool for their kids. How can we attract our first 100 customers by offering personalized development roadmaps, embedding real-time progress updates for parents, and creating milestones that make parents feel involved and empowered in their child's growth? I'm going to give you my quick 2 pence and then pass you on to my golden team here. It's very simple. I think the panelists here might be sick of hearing this from me, but there's something I call 𝗦𝘁. N stands for need. So whenever you've got a product or service you want to launch, you've got to think, what is the need that you're fulfilling with that? What is the problem that you're solving? And W stands for want. You've got to think, who's going to want this? And how can you get them to do so? I stands for innovation. What innovation are you bringing to the fore? D stands for disruption. Who are you going to disrupt out there? Basically, at the core of it, who are you going to need to steal clients from? Which other sort of current player, competitor in the market? And last but not least, which is probably as important as problem solving, it's S for scalability. Is this scalable? How can you scale it? I.e., how can you make money from it? What is it that you have and don't have to do so? I think it's in our product Q&A, one of the chaps there that joins us often, Martin, he quoted a research that was done, that apparently 85% of founders haven't spoken to a single potential client before they started building their product or service. And unfortunately, it sounds to me, based on your question, that you haven't done enough of that, or perhaps none of that. So my advice is go back to the drawing board and start talking to people whether what you have is actually useful for them. And if you think it is useful, then you need to, again, go back to speak to them so that you can understand how to convince them that it's useful. And you might need to pivot, as Edward likes to mention often. Speaking of Edward, we'll start with Edward, then Nadine, then Jagdeep on this. And if we can try and keep it to about a minute per answer, that would be great, so we can go to another question or two.
Right. Well, this is a very classic product market fit question. How do you get product market fit? And it comes back to what Anton already mentioned, and I'm sure my fellow panelists, Jagdeep and Nadine, will do the same. You need to understand what problem you're solving and whether there's a need from your target audience, in your case, parents of young children. And I would strongly encourage you to reach out to your target audience and start asking them questions. What if we built this? How would you like to engage with that? You will then get feedback from them, what it is that they'd like to see. Or maybe you will learn that no one is interested in what you're trying to solve, and then you're trying to solve a problem that isn't a problem at all. So yeah, I would certainly suggest do more research, figure out what is triggering these parents, and then you can find a way of marketing it to them. And you need to really understand what you're selling. You're probably not selling the education of your children. You're selling the feeling that it gives the parents of that child.
Thank you very much, Edward. Nadine?
That was a perfect way to end, because I'm going to jump right on that. This is about the parents, really. It's about helping the parents to be more efficient with their time when they want to see if their child's development is on track with others in their local area. And that's another key point, local area. Children develop at completely different times, as you would know, the person who is running this business. And the development milestones don't all happen at the same time. For example, my son didn't really crawl, he just started walking. But you, as a parent, you'll feel like, well, I haven't hit that milestone, so something's not right. Okay, and I think the wonderful opportunity you have here is to show that there's a nuances between children and when they develop, and actually it's all fine. So the first thing I would do is just give a free trial. You may not want to do this, but trust me, it will work. Get a free trial going and start to collate data from 100 customers. Start to show that actually there's different times when children develop, and there's different ways that they actually show and hit those milestones. And in this particular area, it's different to this particular area, right? So now you're creating a differentiation, and actually you're helping the parents to see that everything's fine. Make it also fun. With this particular demographic of parents, they love to do games which are quite easy. You know, like think of the gemstones one where you just click and you have to make 3 and all that kind of stuff. That might just sound trivial on the surface of it, but actually that's a wonderful way for them to spend 3 to 5 minutes, which is sometimes all they have, just to do a quick this and that in your app. So make it quick, create a trial, make sure you get lots of data, share that data, and also share bite-sized information for the parents so that you can help them support their child. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. Jagdeep?
Yeah, there's some great points covered. I would say also, just in addition to the research and the free content, what I'd also look at, or free trials, I would also look at creating content as well. So typically this would be kind of webinars, workshops, etc. Maybe from people who are recognized in the industry around early childhood development, etc. Maybe influencers, and that would essentially help drive some growth as well in terms of getting people on board. Also do some competitor research, because there are a ton of apps that and products that do a lot of what is being said. So typically, I think for other age groups, you have apps like SumDog, there's TT Rockstars, there's a few others out there that essentially gamify education and evolve the kind of the learning behavior of children depending on STEM or other kind of frameworks. So the question is, one, drive people towards you, which is through free trials, demos, etc. But the other one is also offer content as value add as well, and then gets feedback as to whether that content was relevant or what you thought of that content, etc. So that engagement increases as well. That's probably a very easy way to at least gain 100 customers, which is not really that difficult if you're talking about that kind of volume of customers. The point made earlier, it's not going to be the children who get the product, it's going to be the kids, the parents, and the parents are the ones who are going to be purchasing or procuring the service. So the question is, what value are you giving the parents, and what psychology is behind parents improving the development of their children? So get into the thinking and the mindset of the parents as well. Again, look at focus groups, etc. as well. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Right, Gio, I've put another question, panelists, in our group chat if you'd like to have a look at it. In the meantime, if any of you founders in the audience want to come up and ask questions on how to grow your business, please feel free to do so. All you need to do is raise your hand, we'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your question. If you're finding any value on this, please share it with your network or tag somebody. And also, I've got a favor to ask. I've put a link in the comments of this event, and you can find it by clicking on the 3 dots at the top of your screen and then view event details. So South by Southwest, the legendary conference / startup / arts event, is coming to London next year. And in order for us to attend and run these startup Q&As and help thousands of people and founders that will join there, and they've got a voting system. So we would really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind sharing that post that I put in the comments, but also obviously vote for us there. We would be really grateful. But without further ado, Zara, please introduce yourself and fire away with your question.
Good afternoon, Anton, and thank you for allowing me to speak. And lovely to meet you, Nadine. So yeah, I've been listening to what you guys have been talking about. Now, I operate in a very different level. So I'm kind of B2C, working in the 5D digital transformation. So I probably sound like a bit of an alien. So probably come back to you guys later when I need to get back to the 4D, but I'm kind of 5 years in the future planning ahead, okay? But what I did want to do was offer my help to the question before, who was trying to develop apps for education and parents. There's something called the intangible driver that we're born with. And once the parents understand their children's uniqueness, they will understand what types of games they would like, how to sort out their education, to make it fun for them. So I'm here if whoever that person posed that question to, if you want to put me in touch with them, I'm quite happy to have a chat with them. So yeah, kind of just offering my helping hand and the experience of 10 years of looking after a child that was almost diagnosed with autism, and we managed to turn it around, and 4 years of learning about all this intangible driver stuff by someone called John 𝗦𝘁, who has founded Flowset. So thank you for allowing me to speak. And yeah, feel free to send me a connect. I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more. Cheers.
Thank you very much for that, Zara. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for coming up. Right, yeah, we've got 8 minutes to go. If you've got a question on growing your business, please feel free to raise your hand now. Otherwise, we'll go for our last question. This one is on EdTech as well. So we're a pre-seed EdTech startup in Southampton, offering AI-driven learning tools for university students struggling with STEM subjects. Whilst our product is innovative, our marketing efforts have failed to connect with students overwhelmed by the sheer volume of similar apps on the market. How can we craft a hyper-focused marketing strategy that emphasizes our tool's ability to adapt to individual learning styles and building credibility and differentiation, amongst university communities? So basically, in a nutshell, how can we stand out from the crowd? Perhaps we can start with Nadine this time, then Jagdeep, then Edward, please. If we can keep this to a minute, because Dipti is in the audience and wants to come up with, yep, she's back on stage, so she's got a question. So please, Nadine, Jagdeep, and Edward, let's write 1 minute answer.
Happy to. Thanks, Anton. Okay, first things first, I'm going to say influencers. And there are tons of businesses at the moment which specifically look at hard to reach people in STEM. That is mainly women, sometimes diverse communities. I would go straight to those people and say, let's do a partnership. I'm running a pilot. Can you help me do some awareness? That may be the biggest. You might think that's a big lump of money to spend straight away, but the exponential reach that you will get by going and partnering with those that already have existing communities will be worth it. So that's number one, find really good influencers. There's an amazing one on Instagram. I can't remember the name right now, but if you contact me or send me a message, I'll send it to you. He's about 22 years old. He was doing university. He started showing STEM subjects in his videos on Instagram, and he's absolutely just gone massive. That's the kind of person you want to work with. Secondly, get a focus group with the particular university you're working with. Figure out what's stopping them performing well with their studies, what could help them perform well, get their ideas, try them, test them, see if they work. Use that research to show what's the difference between traditional models and your AI model. And I'll leave it there, but there are so many ways you can do this. Feel free to contact me. I've got tons of ideas.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Jagdeep, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, sure. I would say for this, if you're going to look at a focus strategy, this marketing strategy, it also requires a deeper understanding of the audience. So I would say also understand and research the audience and the type of people you're trying to target. That will improve your marketing strategy. So I would say look at your user research and do some market research as well. Also see what your competitors are doing as well. All that is free of charge, so you don't need to spend any money on that. And then at least it means that your strategy is far more focused. You need to do that background effort in order to understand and target people. I think, the point made earlier around social proof and influencers, what I'd also look at is leveraging communities around you. So like I said, you've already mentioned, university communities. I would say actually approach some of the universities directly, especially the ones that specialized in STEM, and target them and have a chat with them. Again, a partnership would be free. because universities operate on a particular educational models. So that'll be very valuable as well. So those are the initial ones I can think of, but you definitely need to do the research before going ahead with the strategy.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Edward, 1 minute answer, please.
Yeah, very short then. I think most of it has already been mentioned. I think indeed, do your research first to understand why you're different than your competitors, so you can emphasis on that and focus on the value that you deliver and why you're different. And then look at partnerships, potential partnerships to have a broader audience and a sort of borrowed authority.
Thank you very much, Edward. And I'd just like to add 2 things. Number one, absolutely agree with all 3 of my panelists that you need to drill deeper in terms of the value you add, and you can do that by researching and seeing what problem you're actually really solving. And number 2, reach out to student unions throughout the country. And one of the things you can do is sponsor either their parties or perhaps some research or whatever work they're doing. But to sponsor their parties, it's probably not too expensive. You might even be able to, I don't know, go and find out a bar and say, look, if I bring you 200 students for a party, what deals can you give us? And then you go to the student union and say, you know, I'm willing to do X, Y, Z. If you would like to partner with us. Right here, we have 2 minutes to go. So quickly, Dipti, please introduce yourself and fire away with your question.
Hi, I'm Dipti. Thank you for the platform today. I'll be quick and short. So I'm an application specialist at a pharmaceutical company, but I've opened a beauty clinic. I still work full time because I have mortgage to pay, and I'm getting quite a few, not issues, but on the marketing side, I think Nadine will be able maybe to help me on that. It's a very competitive business, so, and I'm not good with marketing, and it's like I need to hire a social media manager, which I'm not able to.
What does the
hire.
clinic do? What does the clinic do, Dipti? Would you mind explaining that for us,
Yes.
please?
So the clinic, I'm specialized in advanced skin facials. I don't do injectables like Botox and fillers. I focus on anti-aging, hyperpigmentation, mature skin, because I've been specialized in this field. So that's
okay. So how do you get the word out there to get more people involved? Is that right?
Yes. So the clients that I have now is just families and friends. So I know this business need to, like, by word of mouth or by marketing. So that's where I'm most right now.
Are you in a position that you can pay somebody like a marketing consultant or a social media person or anything like that?
Not for me. I've invested so much in the business that yeah, that's where I'm stuck right now.
No, that's fine. Okay, I'll give you my quick 2 pence in less than a minute, and then pass you on to Edward and Nadine, because Jagdeep, I think, had to leave. The way I see this is I would produce content, literally just get on things like TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and these sessions, and start producing content. Start maybe finding ways to do collaborations with other people that do